Welcome
Hello.
everybody to Plot Hunters episode 4 now. Yay! 4 and you guys are still alive. That's good.
Four.
Let's see. Can you do
Are
you guys can you guys hear
gonna
me on the
stop.
stream yet?
Uh,
Let
I'm
me
trying
double.
to refresh, but oh shit, maybe I'm just like,
Oh, yep, I'm on the
oh,
stream. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
there you go. There you go.
Okay, so you guys did a lot last episode. You got a little bit of a I got a full page of notes. So here's the summary of last week's episode.
Oh
So,
yeah.
where we last left off, the party managed to escape the death house, although Cruz was knocked unconscious by a scythe trap. Outside the house, the party took a short rest to recover and went in search of a tavern. This was in the village of Barovia. They came upon the Blood of the Vine Tavern, where they met a few of the locals, including the owners of the tavern, three Vistani sisters named Alenka, Mirabel, and Sorvia, a man named and a man named Ismark Indirovich. After some discussion, the party learned that they were in the village of Barovia and that the land of Barovia was cursed by a vampire lord named Strahd. Varen showed Ismark the letter she found on the dead body outside the village, and Ismark confirmed its contents, telling them that that his adopted sister Irina had been bitten twice by Strahd. Ismark asked for their help in guarding Irina as they traveled to one of the other villages, either Vallaki or Kretsk, to get away from Strahd. The Vistani tavern owners suggested that the party visit Madame Ava at the Vistani camp outside of town for more information. The party agreed to help Ismark, and he led them to his father's dilapidated mansion, where they met Irina and the body of their father, Kolyan Indirovich, who had died of a heart attack 3 days prior. The siblings asked them to help bury Kolyan in the cemetery before they left for Barovia. The party agreed to aid, and the siblings allowed them to spend the night in their mansion. The next morning, you helped Ismark and Irina take their father's coffin to the church. At the church, they heard a shrill screaming coming from the basement. There, they met Father Donovic, a local cleric who was crazed with grief over the state of his son Doru, who had been turned into a vampire after joining an attack on Castle Ravenloft. Varen decided to help the young vampire by going to the forest and finding a fresh deer carcass to feed him, while the rest of the party helped Ismark and Irina bury their father. Once the deed was done, the group left the village of Barovia and traveled along the old Svalak road to a Vistani camp at Serpool. There they met with Madame Ava, who had been expecting their arrival for some time. Madame Ava informed them that they were brought to this land by Strahd, and that only they could defeat him and free this land from his curse. Madame Ava then read each of their fortunes, telling them the locations of 3 items: the Tome of Strahd, the Holy Symbol of Ravenkind, and the Sun Sword, that would help them defeat Strahd. She also told them of an ally in Barovia who could also help them, and the location where they would face Strahd himself. So, do you guys need a refresher on the card reading, or you guys have those all written down already?
I
Mine
got.
written down.
I got. Shit. 1 second.
Yeah.
I used the test my math notebook as well. Shit. I just had it open. Okay, so I got the guild member, and I was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to look for a weapon of vengeance. There was a sword of sunlight. It's in a dark room filled with bottles, and the room was that of a guild member.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I only got the other thing was Baron's card, which is you're supposed to go to a mountain and
Yep.
find a white tower guarded by golden knights.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, yeah. So the Tome of Strahd, and I have to go up the mountains and climb the White Tower guarded by golden knights.
Yes.
Hashtag 3 of Swords.
I love how mine's like the Vegas, like a dark room. So find it. It's like cool.
Don't worry. I'm sure mine's hella symbolic.
Yes. And then, Mira, did you get yours all written down? You're good?
Yeah, I have. I'm like, I can't read my handwriting. Yeah.
That's my problem all the time.
I have Holy Power weapon, Ravenkind, Wizard's Tower, find a guide. Wait, no. Guide. God.
It is look for a wizard's tower on a lake. Look for a wizard's tower on a lake, and let the wizard's name and servant guide you to that which you seek.
Same.
Okay, that's what that word was. I was like,
And then Cruz, you got yours.
Yeah, the
Good.
artifact. Look for an entertaining man with a monkey. This man is more than he seems.
Cool. And then you guys will face Strahd on a. See, I see a figure on a dark balcony looking down upon this tortured land with a twisted smile.
Hot.
Yay. Okay,
That's
so
a couple episodes away.
yes.
Oh, and
Hopefully.
she told us to trust the ravens and nothing
Oh
else.
yes,
Yes,
trust the ravens. That's what I was like. Is it crows? Is it ravens?
That's ravens. Ravens is more poetic than crows.
Trust the
Quote,
ravens.
quote the crow. Kakam, motherfucker.
So where you are now, you've just exited Madame Ava's tent. You did notice that as you exited the tent, there was a raven on the front of the tent that just went flying off, and it kind of circles the camp and then flies off into the woods. So you are currently standing outside of Madame Ava's tent. You see that all the Vistani are pretty much either passed out, like in their wagons, or sitting around a campfire. Most of them are drunk. You see Ismark and Irina have joined them around the campfire, and they're listening to one of the Vistani, a guy kind of telling a story in a loud voice. So what would you guys like to do?
I want to listen to the story.
Yeah, let's get in on
Hey,
that.
go listen to the story.
Okay.
I want to listen to this fireside.
All right.
Puppy!
Puppy!
Stop.
I like that the puppy barks around the same time every stream. It's like perfect clockwork. It's like it's 6:05.
Yeah, that's my mom coming home.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
Well, that
okay.
makes sense then. That makes perfect sense. All right. So, you join the Vistani around the campfire. It's kind of like the circle around the campfire. It's a pretty big campfire, but it's still like there's so many people that's kind of like 2 people deep. So you're kind of around the back side of it. And you join in and you hear this, he's pretty drunk, but he's still intelligible. And he's very animated in the way he tells his stories. And he starts saying, "A mighty wizard came to this land over a year ago. I remember him like it was yesterday. He stood exactly where you are standing," and he points to Mira as you walk up. I remember see. A very charismatic man he was. He thought he could rally the people of Barovia against the evil devil Strahd. He stirred them with thoughts of revolt and bore them to the castle en masse. When the vampire appeared, the wizard's peasant army fled in terror. A few stood their ground and were never seen again. The wizard and the vampire cast spells at each other. Their battle flew from the courtyards of Ravenloft to a precipice overlooking the falls. I saw the battle with my own eyes. Thunder shook the mountainside, and great rocks tumbled down upon the wizard, yet by his magic he survived. Lightning from the heavens struck the wizard, and again he stood his ground. But when the devil Strahd fell upon him, the wizard's magic couldn't save him. I saw him thrown 1,000 feet to his death. I climbed down to the river to search for the wizard's body, to see if, he had anything of value, but the river Ivlis had already spirited him away.
The river what?
Ivlis. It's Ivlis.
I-V-L-I-S.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And after that, there's just more just general chatter. Is there anything? Ismark and Irina. It's around this time. It is late afternoon. So Ismark and Irina do tell you guys that it's probably best for you guys to camp here for the night and then start early next morning to head to Vallaki. It's you won't reach it before night falls if you head out now.
Sounds good.
Okay.
What was the name of the town we came from?
The village of Barovia.
Oh, just Village of Maria.
Yeah. It's the name of the land and the village. Is there anything that you would like to do in the camp before you guys take some rest?
I want to see if they have provisions here. Like
Provisions? Okay. Yeah, you do. You ask around, and they are traders by nature. So, one of them gestures you over to one of the carts, they're huge, like barrel top carts, and he kind of draws back this curtain at the end, and you see it's just laden with supplies. What in particular are you looking for?
I want to see. I want to ask. Do you have any healing kits or what else? Oh, healing potions. Yes.
Yeah, I want to look for healing potions.
Healing potions. Okay. You are lucky. They have both. What page is it? I used to remember exactly what page everything was on in this book, as far as like supplies and stuff, and now I don't. Hey, I found it. let's see. They have healer's kits. Healer's kit is 5 gold. And then he has a total of 6 healing potions of healing, and they're 50 gold apiece.
Shit. God
Yeah.
damn.
Are they regular
Yeah.
potions of healing? Oh, sorry.
They're they're the base level ones. But you do have if you have anything to barter, they're also willing to barter.
I got 30 torches.
You got
Uh,
you took all 30 torches. Wow.
You know what? I thought I just because I found it, I thought I had to take them. So
So Mira, do you want to buy a healer's kit?
I do. Do they just have one?
They have like 2.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna buy 2.
Which I think.
okay.
How many uses do you get at one? You get 10 uses.
Oh,
Okay.
shit, yeah, we'll buy.
I'll get 1 healing potion.
You want 1 healing potion?
That's
I
all
have
the money I got for.
Elena,
what?
it's okay. I have money. I can at least afford 3 healing potions.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Are you buying Alina's as well? Or you just is that Alina? Are you paying for one for you and then?
I know you said you had money. Do you want to pay for mine? Or do you wanna-
Yeah, I can afford 3.
Okay, so you're gonna buy 3 for the group, basically.
Who doesn't have a healing potion?
I don't. Can I
Okay,
try?
I don't. I don't think anyone does. Maybe.
Okay, so I'll buy 1, and then if you buy 3, you can give the rest out.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so each of you has 1 healing potion.
Buy money?
I'm like, let me go to my money.
Oh.
Is there anything else you guys would need? Anything in particular you're looking for?
Do we need to keep up with rations and stuff?
No, I generally figure like you guys are professional travelers. You've got enough to go
Okay,
to last
okay.
you for a while. And like as you're sitting in the Vistani camp, they share some of their food with you. You probably pick something up while you're in with Ismark and Irina, so they probably supply it to you as well.
Do they have any weapons?
Make a perception check.
Shit. Yeah, I'll take 2. And not destroy anything. Woo! Perception. That is 19.
19.
Still here,
Um,
you
You see, there are a couple like just basic crossbows, kind of piled. Everything's not it's kind of disorganized. It's all just kind of heaped on top of each other. You see a sword, some pitchforks, but you do see, kind of shoved in the back, is a very shiny black scythe that's just kind of
Scythe?
wedged in the back.
Ooh.
But that's the only weapon that kind of sticks out.
I'm
Oh
gonna
no!
ask-
You also see there's like a bundle of white fletched arrows just kind of set on top of a box somewhere.
I'm gonna ask about the scythe.
He tells you that the scythe is not for sale. That is something we are holding on to for a friend.
I want to ask as the friend.
He kind of laughs and he just shakes his head. That is for me to know.
Pretty please. And I want to roll.
Okay, roll persuasion.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm like right, like what?
that will be. I got not a natural 20, but a 20.
A 20. He kind of thinks for a moment. He says, "It is for a powerful warrior from another land."
That's us.
But that's
Maybe it's for us.
it's not for you. No, he traded something of great value for this, and I am bringing it to him.
What did you trade?
That I cannot tell you.
Everybody's just coming. It's like, hey. So
Oh my god.
I'm good. How much is the crossbow or like is it just a bow or a crossbow?
They're just regular crossbows. There you do see a couple just regular short bows.
How much is the bow with the arrows?
There is a bundle of arrows, just regular arrow. They're a bundle of arrows with like white fletching. And there's
How
like
much is
6
the-
of them.
How much is the bundle of arrows and a short bow?
The arrows, he says, there are 6 in this bundle, and it's 600 gold for the set. And then and the short bow is 25 gold.
What? Don't you have like regular arrows?
Could we?
And he says,
Could we?
he digs around. He says he digs around a little bit. He does have regular arrows, which are
Makes those arrows special.
he has a bundle of 20 for 1 gold.
How much
But these
is
are special arrows, so they're very expensive.
Yeah, well, I don't have that kind of money. How much is the cross? Do they have crossbow bolts?
They do. It's 20 for 1 gold.
And how much is a crossbow?
And a crossbow is 75 gold.
Fuck, why are weapons so expensive?
Do you want 75
Yeah.
gold?
Well, do you want a hand crossbow or a heavy crossbow? Because a heavy crossbow is 50 gold. But you have to be able to carry. Yeah, you can carry heavy items. You're a barbarian. You're fine.
And you said the short bow was what?
Short bow is 25.
25. Okay, I'm gonna like take Maida to the side. Maida, can I borrow?
God.
Can I borrow 20 gold?
This is what happens when you're the only aristocrat in the group. You pay for everything.
I will let you ride on my shoulders if you give me 20 gold.
Did you want the set? I can give you 75.
I just wanted to get a short bow and the bundle of arrows for 1 gold.
Okay, so you want the short bow. So that's 25 gold and 1 gold, so 26 gold.
I
I
can
can give her
pay-
75 gold.
Aww.
Aww.
Okay.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Is there anywhere that I can find poison?
Poison. Ooh. When you ask him this, he kind of gives you a look, almost like a mischievous kind of wink. And he has a vial of just very basic poison, just 1 vial, and it's he says it's 100 gold.
100.
Mhm.
How many doses would you say?
Good question. What
Assuming you,
is?
A
assuming
vial
you
is just
dipped
like
like across, like a dart in it.
It says, let's see, you can apply up to 3 pieces of ammunition with this vial.
I'm gonna pass this time, but thank you.
I'm gonna ask. Maida, are you done shopping?
Yeah, I'm done shopping.
I'll put you on my shoulders because you gave me money. I'm very tall, and you're short, so I figured it'd be funny. I'm gonna walk over to Varen.
Mm.
I'm gonna give her the short bow and the bundles of arrows, and I'm gonna say, "Don't give out your weapons."
Don't.
I'm
Wait,
gonna-
am I proficient with short bows?
You're not a bow, so
You're an elf, so you should be.
Oh, that's
Elves-
right. That's right,
yeah.
that's right.
Elves should be
not
proficient
a
with
bow,
any
so
kind
that's
of.
why I got a bow, not a crossbow.
Mhm.
Whatever.
Bless.
Cruz, do
I
you
was
want
trying to be
anything?
nice, okay?
Are you buying anything, Cruz?
No, I'm good. I'm chilling.
Good. Okay. All right then. Anything else you guys would like to do around camp before you guys take a nap?
I want to see if anyone, if they're going back to the other side, if they can send a letter to my fiance so I can see if I can get more money.
They say we are willing to carry a message if you wish, but how? Well, I guess he would send it back with other Vistani coming back, but there's no guarantee how long that will take. But we're willing to carry a message for you if you wish.
Okay, pretty please.
Okay, so what do you write in this this letter to your? Who is your fiance? What's his name?
My fiance, I had it in
Aww.
my notes.
You can't even remember your damn fiance's name.
They don't even know each other, actually.
Fair enough. Okay.
I've been at
Okay,
work.
it's it's Scythere. Dear Scythere, I know you sent a lot of money, but I lost a lot on clothes. And I know you told me to make I did my mission, but pretty please send more money. And then like I'm gonna stamp it with like the signet ring he gave me, so like he knows it's like my
Legit.
signet ring and his signet ring. And so
Okay.
I'm like, there you go. Your best friend. I can't wait to meet you eventually. But your best friend.
Hey, can you send me more money? I hope to meet you soon, but I need more money like now.
Yeah, pretty please.
Okay.
Order for the mission.
I'm gonna try to sneak 20 gold into Mira's pocket.
Aw. Okay, make a sleight of hand check, and Mira, make a perception.
I'm like,
Oh, 14.
So I did a 21. And it's
Okay.
21.
So
So I
you-
slap it out your hand, and I'm like, oh, it's okay.
Nice try.
Nice try.
All right.
No.
Anything else you'd like to do?
Is there any way I could examine that black scythe?
Make a persuasion check
Okay.
to see if he will convince. You can convince him to show it to you.
That's not great. That is a 4.
He just kind of chuckles a little bit, and he has a perpetual like smile on his face. He's just really good natured, but he just shuts the curtains. He just laughs at you and shuts the curtains.
Cool, thanks.
I wonder. Ooh, I'm like, can I sneak it? No. No.
Okay.
I want to ask him. Like, I know we're strangers, and it's for your friend, but maybe we could meet your friend, and we pretty please. Just like flashes her like. No.
Come on,
Yeah.
Mira. Come on.
Yeah, and
I
he's just like
grab,
he just kind of pats her head and says, "You're cute," but no.
I just like grab her by the back of the collar and I'm just like, come on.
All right. Anything else?
I just shout like, sorry, behind me.
Anything else?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh,
Okay.
can I spar with someone?
Can you what?
Just a quick sparring session.
Sparring stuff? Are you gonna spar one of the group, or are you gonna just pick a random person?
Pick someone who looks like they know their way around a fight.
Okay. You do see there is one guy who's kind of hanging out on near a cart, and he's got a drink in one hand, but he's surprisingly does not look drunk like the other Vistani. Pretty big guy. Looks fairly tough.
Field
What do you
trip?
say to him? And he just kind of glances at you, and then it's like downs the rest of his drink, and he's like, "Why not?" And so you guys,
I promise I'm not stronger than I look.
and he just kind of chuckles and he says, "You look pretty strong." And you guys go over to the shores of the lake, and you have a nice little sparring session.
Yay.
He's pretty strong, but you're a lot faster, so you do manage to trip him up a few times. But it's a pretty energetic session.
Cool. And I'm just like, I would treat you to dinner, but I think like it's covered.
He kind of blushes a little bit, which is kind of weird.
Oh my god. Oh my. Okay, bye.
Bye. And he's just like, bye. He's surprisingly shy.
Aw, cutie.
Oh.
This is me making up for fucking Daru or Doru.
Oh god, the meth addict Doru. Okay, yes.
Your husband. Can I go to the Shawnee that was talking about the story, and I want to ask him some questions actually.
Sure. He's just sitting around the campfire, just chill. He's got kind of a graying hair. He's an older gentleman, but he's very energetic and just definitely a born and bred storyteller. He loves telling stories, and you come over to him, and he just gives you a wide smile.
Hi. I really liked your story. It was very nice. Very inspiring. In fact, actually, do you have any idea? Were you close to this wizard person?
Close? I did not know him, no. But I saw them from afar, and I heard many rumors. All I know is that he came from another land, and he was, from what I saw, was very powerful, though not more powerful than Strahd, it looks like.
Oh, did he come by himself?
He did.
That's really sad. I would hate to be alone in a foreign country, which I've done before, but in this case,
What does it look like we're doing now?
I have my friends, so it's different.
Aw.
Thankfully, it's okay. But where do you know if anyone is from the army that they had from him, guys?
From the army? Well, there are few. No one here. And he looks at the Vistani around him. He's like, no one here would be foolish enough to go up against Strahd, but you might be able to find a few who fled. But those who remained were all slaughtered or taken by Strahd.
Oh, yikes!
Just imagine I'm still like she's
Hey.
been like guiding me. To
Yeah. And you do recall that one of the people that did go was Doru, the vampire kid that Baron tried to save. He was one of the people that didn't really survive, but he came back from that, so he was turned.
Oh, okay.
Guide.
Well,
Yes, he
Well-
survived.
okay, well, thank God we fed him. Well, thank you so much for the information. And I wave I'm just like almost falling off of Elena's head, but I'm like, okay, well, bye.
All right. So you guys end up pitching your camp. There's no spare tents; they're all used. So you just pitch your camp kind of along the shores of the lake, a little bit further from the Vistani camp, but still close enough that you can be there safely. And while you're kind of setting up for the night, you do hear some distant wolf howls, but they never get closer to the camp. So you spend the night there. You get a full night's rest. And you wake up the next morning, and by the time you guys wake up, you wake up fairly early, but the Vistani are already starting to pack up camp. They were clearly up a lot earlier than you guys.
Damn. Wait, I sleep 4 hours.
Okay, well you might have woken up early, or you might have stayed up really late. Who knows?
Maybe I'll fight a tree.
You're just
Okay.
punching trees.
I'm just hunting trees.
But the Vistanis do ask you if you need anything else. We have a few camps around, and we usually travel along this road. But if you find any Vistani, just holla. And
Oh,
the
wait.
one, yeah,
I do have one question.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere that I might find, say, a white tower?
a white tower. And he says, well, I don't know if they're white. There are towers at the castle. There is a tower on Lake Baratok, but it's not white. Do you have any more details? It's just white
I think it's in the mountains.
in the mountains. And he's like, I don't think there's anything in the mountains. There's the guard tower on the bridge, but that is it.
Well, thank you. Worth a shot.
I'd like find someone and ask them, do you do you know any if any of the villages have guild members?
Guild? What kind of guild member? What kind of guild?
I don't know. Just guild members.
And he's just like, well, there's plenty of guilds. I mean, it depends on what kind of guild. What are they making?
I don't know, Madam Eva was very big.
What? And he kind of laughs when you say that, and he nods knowingly. He's like, yes, she can be. Any other details that she gave you?
Dark room, bottles.
Bottles? Well, he kind of holds up, there's empty bottles of wine just kind of all over the place that they're packing, and he's just like, well, there's the winemaker's guild.
Oh.
And wine is big here, so.
What is that located in every town or?
Well, there are people who make wine, or who are in every town, but the winery, there's what was the name? The Wizard. Let me double check the name of it. I believe it's Wizard of Wines. No.
It's a good party trick.
Yeah, it's
Wizard of Wine.
Wizard of Wines Winery.
Oof.
And he says that that is there's the winery that makes all the wine that pretty much every town drinks, and that is all the way far to. I can see my map now. Yeah.
Yay, glasses.
Yay. It is far to the west near Kresk.
Near what?
Kresk. It's Krezk, and that's the very last town to the far side of Barovia.
Kreck.
Krezk.
Okay. This is the farthest town.
Yeah, it says is near the farthest town. It's to the southwest of Kresk.
Oh, so it's not in the town.
No. They have their own lands.
Near the
Yeah.
southwest.
Or south, directly south of
To the
Kresk.
south.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's the vineyard where they grow
Okay.
all the grapes and make the wine.
I'll try there. Thank you.
He nods. And then as you guys pack up camp, they start heading out. They're dragging their wagons. They've got their draft horses, and they start heading. They're actually heading east, back through the village of Barovia. And the one guy that you sparred with, Varen, just kind of shyly waves at you from the back of one of the wagons.
Aww. This D&D Beyond doesn't have regular healing potions. It has severe,
so
severe,
weird.
and greater.
Yeah, it's weird. I think that it's what. If
I
you
just
look
put
up,
it in as a custom item.
yeah, you might as well have to. You might have to do that. I don't know why it does that.
What does it give you? 2d4?
2d4 plus 2?
Yes,
What's being discussed?
healing potions.
You know what?
Oh,
I
they're in
can't.
the, you can search them in the manage equipment thing.
They're not
Yeah,
there.
but they don't have regular healing potions. They have greater, superior, and supreme healing potions.
Yeah,
They
that's
don't have-
fucking wild.
I'm just
Yeah,
gonna.
That's
like,
weird.
I don't know how to do this custom item thing. It just doesn't let me. It doesn't let me like edit it or anything.
I have
Oh.
a regular
I just
potion of
forget it.
healing.
What?
I just
How?
did it.
I googled potion. Not googled,
Or
I
searching it. Yeah.
yeah.
Potion.
What? It's not there.
Maybe try healing potion. I don't.
There's
Potion.
there's
It's
it
a
only
potion
goes as low
of
as
healing.
greater.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I put that and it didn't. It didn't like.
It
give
only
me-
goes as low as greater
No,
healing.
it when you put potion and all, the second one will be potion of healing. It's the 2d4 one.
Yeah. If you keep scrolling down, it eventually shows up to potion of healing.
Just put
Okay.
potion in the.
Search.
Don't click on the potion button. Just put potion in the search bar, and it should be the second
What?
one. Yeah, I don't know. If you put potion of healing, it doesn't come up. Apparently.
That makes no sense. They're still working on things with this.
So wait, who got a healing potion?
We all got it.
So each of you has one.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm so mad.
So Ismark and Irina are all packed up and ready to head out whenever you guys are.
Where were these?
All right, let's go.
Yeah, I'm ready to hit it.
All right. So you head out of the Vistani camp. They're heading the opposite direction from you, but they did tell you that there is a shortcut that just follows along the river that you can take. It's just a little footpath that will take you back to the main road that will take you to Vallaki. So
Is
you
it
head
in the Phallic Road.
the Svalak Road, yes, that takes you all the way. It's the Svalak Road is the only like main road in this place. Everything else are just paths.
What a long, wide road.
Oh gosh. As you travel, the footpath follows the river to the base of a canyon. And it goes to the far end. You see a huge waterfall. And as you walk, it gets higher and higher, or the land gets higher and higher until you have to cross a stone bridge that spans the canyon. You're about 1,000 feet overhead of this river now. And as you approach the bridge, you see that there's two gargoyles that are kind of standing on either side of the bridge.
Hot.
I don't trust them.
There's what?
2
They're
gargoyles.
gargoyles. I don't
Yeah.
like it.
Do they move?
Make a perception check.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
If I can't see anything from here, I'm gonna throw a dart at one. But first, let's go with the perception check.
16.
18.
18.
16.
Okay. From what you guys can tell, they just look like they're made of stone. They don't seem, there's no movement as you stand there and kind of watch them.
Are they just on the side of the mountain?
No, they're standing on either side of the bridge.
On the
That goes-
bridge, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have like ADD.
I'm gonna like stick an arm out and be like, the last time this happened, a suit of armor tried to kill me. And I'm just gonna like throw a dart at one.
Okay. You toss a dart and it just hits it and just bounces right off. And it does sound like metal hitting stone.
I'm gonna slowly go over and just like pick up the dart.
Okay. You pick up the dart on the ground, and again, there's no movement to them. They just look like they're made of stone. They're covered in a black moss.
I'm gonna go past them first.
Okay.
before-
You walk across the bridge, past the gargoyles. Nothing happens. The bridge is pretty slick, but the gargoyles, they just stand there. And you do notice when you cross the bridge that there are 2 more on the other side. So there's 2 on each side of the bridge.
Okay.
But there is no movement.
Okay, so I'm gonna be heading the line just if everybody's okay with that.
Yep.
I'll bring up the rear again.
Looks like it's you and me in the middle. The squishes.
Okay.
And while passing, I want to like pat the gargoyle's head, like, thank you.
You pat the heads. They nod. No, they don't nod. They just stand.
Noise and just be like,
Yes. So you continue down through the winding road. At this point, you're crossing a more mountainous terrain, and so there's like the narrow road, and then there's like hills and mountains to either side of you, and it's just winding through this area. And eventually, after about an hour or so, you come to another set of iron gates, much like the ones that you first entered through. These ones do stand open, but it's very similar. They have the same statues that are on the outside. These ones have the heads on, which is weird, because the other ones were decapitated. But they are the same statues, essentially. They're just humanoid statues on either side of the gates.
Yeah.
do I hear anyone moving beyond the gates?
Make a perception check.
Yeah, 13.
13. You hear in the distance a little bit of what sounds like a cart coming, but that's pretty much it.
I'm gonna ask whatever almost handsome guy.
Almost handsome. Ismark. Yes,
It's
Ismark.
Mark. I'm like, is this the entrance to the next town?
And he shakes his head, no, this is, you are exiting out of the area of Borovia as far as like the village and its areas. This leads to the rest of the lands.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
pull up that map you send us.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the gates are closed, right?
The gates are open. Yeah.
Oh.
These ones stand open.
here's the map. I can't see shit.
So where you at, where it says Sarah Falls, it's like directly north of that. You see like a little 2 squares crossing that road.
I have to say,
Okay,
like, have
I
like
see.
everything like
Yeah.
made so I can fit all like notes and everything. One second.
Yeah.
I'm on Windows 10, so excuse me, I don't know how to use it.
No,
the
I
Windows part was the
understand.
first mistake, but
Well, my school only works on Windows apparently, my math thing. So
ew.
I hate. Blame
Yeah.
statistics.
As you guys kind of stand debating on what you're doing next, you do hear the grinding of the wheels start coming closer, and it just sounds like a cart coming down the road.
Frodo
Alright,
voice, get off the road!
Is it coming
Let's keep
behind
it
us or
moving.
in front of us?
It's coming ahead towards you.
Can I see it?
Make a perception check.
Perception.
Can I try and like leap up on top of the gate?
Make it acrobatics.
21.
21. You cannot see it just yet because it's around. It's the road kind of curves around, but you do hear it pretty clearly coming. And what did you get for acrobatics?
That's a natural 20 for the total of 27.
Nice. You just parkour straight up on the top of the gates, and the gates, much like the ones that you entered from, are in between two rocky outcroppings. So you just kind of hop up there. And what are you gonna do?
I'm
you
going.
said it was in front of us or behind
It was in front of you. Yeah, it's heading up the road towards you.
I'm just gonna like sit like on the edge of the gate with my legs dangling off and just like sit there.
Just sit there.
Gonna
Okay.
stand off
I'm
to
gonna
the
look
side of the road.
intimidating.
Is there
Okay.
room for 2 carts on the road?
Well, there's only. Or do you guys have a cart with you? I thought you.
Oh no.
You guys don't have a cart
That
with
was
you.
when we
Yeah.
were taking the dead body to the church.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just like move to the side and just bring the Ismark and Arena, what is her name? Vampire girl.
Yeah, Arena.
Like push them to the side.
Okay. Are you guys hiding?
I'm just standing in front of them. I'm not hiding. I'm just with my arm across like bouncer style with my axe in the back.
Okay.
I'll stand with you.
I'm gonna go past the gate a little and then like hide like just a little bit beyond the gate.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a stealth check.
Ooh.
Mm.
Not a natural, but a 20.
Okay. So you managed to hide pretty easily in the brush and the trees beyond. And Cruz, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm standing with. Forgot the name.
Yeah, those people. Okay.
Barbarian.
You guys are just standing off the road. Okay. As you stand there, you do see a cart round the corner. There are 2 people in front of it, and they have one horse pulling the cart, and then they have one person behind. And the cart is heaped with something. Just looks like sacks of something. But as they round the corner, they slow down a little bit, and one of them calls out to you, "Who goes there?" He's to Varen because he can see you just sitting on the gate.
I could ask you the same thing.
They kind of look at each other and start approaching slowly. You do see that they are armed with like little short spears.
I got my
Yes.
axe, great axe.
Yes, you're off the road. And as they approach closer, they do see you with your axe off the side of the road, and so they eventually pull up about 15 or 20 feet from the gate, and they kind of come to a stop, and they say, and he just says, he just shrugs at you like, "What? You don't look like a guard to me."
I'm not. Who are you?
He's like, "That's none of your business. We're going to pass. If we have any trouble, well, we don't want any trouble." And he looks at his friend. There you see that the 2 in the front are guys, and there's a woman in the back, they're all just gripping spears. And they kind of finger them, and they're just like, "Okay," eyeing you slowly, and they just kind of start moving the cart again.
Do they look scared, angry? Like, what's the mood there?
Let's see. They do not look scared, but they're just kind of suspicious. You're clearly well. First of all, none of you are human, so and you notice that there's not that many non-humans here that you have met.
Oh, I thought Ismark was a human.
No, I'm saying that you haven't met any non-humans. Ismark is human, but you guys aren't.
Oh, okay.
I see.
Yeah.
So they're human, but everyone in the party isn't. Okay.
Yeah, so they're just eyeing you like suspiciously, like, "What is this person?"
Oh, no. Where are y'all headed?
And they just kind of look at each other, just like, "Where else is there to go but to village of Barovia? It's the only village in this direction."
I guess. We just came from there. Wasn't that fun?
And he's just like, we're not heading for fun. And now that they kind of approach closer, you do see that their cart is heaped with what look like
Dead bodies.
no, not quite. They look like they're heaped with
Live bodies.
furs. Looks like just furs.
Delicious.
Does it get cold here?
Yeah, it is cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have to...
I don't know. Do you have furs?
I'm
What are you
good with
wearing?
Uh,
It's not so cold that you're gonna risk frostbite, but it's chilly. I mean,
yeah.
it's a land of perpetual no sun, pretty much. So it's in mist and constant fog.
Is it
So
like cold enough that we should buy furs?
not quite yet. I mean, you're not gonna get too cold to start taking damage from it here.
Okay.
It's more like it's like San Francisco, like fog.
That means nothing to me.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like New York fall before the snowstorms.
Oh, so fucking cold.
So we
Okay,
would fix
okay.
it.
But it's not going to kill you. I mean, you're
Right.
used to it. Whatever.
Okay.
All right. But they start to approaching past you. Do you guys stop them? You just let them pass.
We let them pass.
I
You let them
We
pass.
don't want any trouble.
All right.
We're all worried of each other. We're just like...
And as they start to pass, you do hear some wolf howls kind of off in the distance. And then they're kind of eyeing all of you, but they don't want any trouble, so they just slowly pass past you. They see all your various weapons, and Cruz, they kind of glance at you the longest. You're giant, you're huge, and they see the weapons kind of hanging off your back, and they're just like, okay.
That's fair.
And they just kind of nod. What?
I
I'm gonna
smile
yell after them.
kindly.
Oh yeah, there are wolves. Don't die.
And they just all kind of smirk at each other, and they're like, "We're very aware of that. Thank you. Good
I
day
want
to
to
you
pop out
all."
the bush and be like, wait.
Werewolves.
Wait. Do you kill werewolves?
And they look at you, and they're just like, "We kill wolves," and he like gestures to the pile of furs, out of necessity, but that's all.
No. Can I do an insight check? Oh,
Go ahead.
9. I'm like, tell me how to kill wolves. Natural 1.
And as far as you can tell, they're just trying to pass.
I'm gonna grab Mayra like under my arm, just carry her, just like, let's go.
Okay, so you hear the cart kind of trundle off in the distance. You do see occasionally they kind of glance back at you guys, but they just continue along their way.
And you said this where we are was past what? I'm looking at the map now, so I...
Where you see where it says Sarah Falls,
Yes.
directly north of that, there's like a little, like, it looks like 2 squares with a line crossing the road.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
that's where you are right now.
Okay.
Okay, so you continue along the road. You do then continue to hear wolf howls kind of in the distance, but they don't really get closer. And you continue along this winding path. The mountains start to get even higher. And as you continue along this winding road, eventually you reach a point where you see, well, let me go back to my notes, where you see that the road that you're on, I'm not going to say the name anymore.
The one that went up.
Yes, the one that went up. Transitions from a winding path through the mountains to kind of a lazy trail that hugs the mountainside. And eventually you start going down into a fog-filled valley. In the heart of the valley, you see off in the distance is a walled town. And
Is that the
well-
one above the stair pool?
yes.
Okay.
It's underneath Lake Starovich.
Yeah, exactly. You see it standing next to a huge lake that just looks just jet black from this distance and completely still. And off to the main road continues, and then off to the left, eventually you pass what looks to be a side road that kind of branches off the main path. And when you look down that road, you see a windmill.
Ooh, guys, it's the windmill.
Oh shit, let's hit that.
Let's go.
Own it, yeah.
We're gonna hit up the windmill.
Ismark and Irina kind of look at you guys like, what for? Why are we going to a windmill? We're
worry
not
about
far
it.
from Vallaki.
Don't worry about it.
We do have people. Maybe once we drop them off, we can come back. Because, it might be ghosts.
But it's right there.
Ghosts.
Right there.
What happened to when ghost?
She's
You got
basically a
possessed.
vampire. It's fine.
Cruz,
Let's go with
die.
Yes, there's a windmill. Let's keep going to
But look, guys, consider. She's basically a vampire. It's fine.
Irina kind of pales when you say that. Like, I'm not a vampire.
Give it
We're
time.
trying to
sorry.
prevent that.
Stop her from becoming a vampire. So let's just go to the village.
Can I do an investigation check on Irina?
Yes.
Just to see, because like I have, would a vampire count as undead?
Yes, the vampire's undead.
Cool. Then I have advantage on investigation checks not intelligence checks to like.
You do.
Or it's undead.
Yeah, it's a 12.
12. Okay. You kind of take a look at her. It doesn't look. You don't see any. Mom's home.
I'm still listening. You can talk.
Okay. You don't notice any discernible changes from in her complexion or the wounds on her neck. They look the same as what they were when you first met her. So she doesn't look like she's becoming more undead.
All right. So I say, Irina's not a vampire. She's cool. She's fine. She's just at risk.
Yes. And she's like, we would very much like to get to town, but unless there's something important with this windmill, why do you want to go there?
How
I
much
guess we can
daylight?
wait.
Let's just get her to town and we'll come back for the winter.
Okay.
How much daylight is there left?
You are about it's about noon right now, from what you can tell. You can't really see the sun, but it's about midday.
Mm-hmm. And when does the sun start setting?
Around 6 o'clock.
Okay. Ugh, no, I'm interested. No. If we drop them off first, then we could come back.
Okay. Deal.
All right.
Okay. So you continue to the town, or continue along the winding road. You see the town, but the road to get there is more out of the way, as you can see from the map. It winds around the hills and forest, and eventually you get close to the lake. And everyone make a perception check.
Ooh.
That's bad.
I think it's like
24.
I got a
15.
14.
Lake ghost.
My dice disappeared. Fuck. Hold on. Wait. Okay, that's an 8.
Okay, so
And wait. 8 plus
plus stuff.
12. Yeah, 12.
Okay, so three of you notice. You do see that as you get closer to the lake, there's kind of a footpath that goes down a little bit, and you see some fishing boats that are just there. There's 3 fishing boats, and then you also notice a 4th boat that is on the lake, and a lone figure kind of sitting in it with a fishing pole in hand.
That.
I feel like the narration means that we should go talk to this person, but it's like, hey yo,
He's
what
so
are you
far
doing?
away.
Yeah, he's kind of out in the middle of the lake.
Why don't we stop at the village and get our own boat?
What? How do we want?
Wait. Are the boats just like free and open?
Yeah, they're just 3 boats just sitting on the side of the lake.
Oh.
Free boats, y'all.
Free boats.
Free boats.
Let's
What do
go
you
to the
want?
village first.
Yeah, let's jog there. Like, okay,
Just drop
Yeah.
off the package. and
What'd you say?
Let's drop off the package and then we'll go to whatever.
You call the 2 people package. So you continue past the lake. It takes you pretty much most of the rest of the day to eventually get to the town. And there you see as you get closer, you see that the road the woods kind of recede back from the road, and then eventually you get to the town, and you see the town is surrounded by a 15-foot high wall made of just sharpened logs that are held together by thick ropes and mortar.
15 or 50? Like 50 or 1
15, 5.
Okay.
I just look at it and I'm just like, I could scale that.
Without looking at her, I'm just like, don't.
I'm like half as tall as that.
Yeah. No. Am I? No.
I could climb you and scale that.
How tall are you, Chris?
I'm 7'10".
Holy shit, you're big as shit.
Yeah.
I'm not as tall.
Yes.
I'm as tall. I'm 6'3".
Yeah.
Okay.
As you get closer to the walls, you do see that there is it's a gate, but it's basically like a wooden gate made out of the same logs, and there are two guards standing at the top of the gate. The gates are closed, and they're holding like what looks to be pikes, and they're just standing keeping guard on the road.
I raise my hand and I say, "Hail and well met, guards."
They look at you with suspicion, partly because A, you're polite, which is weird, but also you're a giant ass Goliath, and they're just kind of glance to each other, and he says, "Hail, what is your business here?"
We're dropping off some friends.
At this point, Ismak and Arina come forward, and they talk to the guards, and they're just like, "Yeah, we are just seeking entrance into Vallaki. My sister and I are looking for a place to stay." And he name drops the priest from the village of Barovia, and also lets them know that he is the son of Kolyan Indirovich, who was the burgomaster, or like the mayor of the town of Barovia, and he basically explains that his father has passed. We have my sister is looking for a place to stay in Vallaki where it is safe. And after some kind of back and forth about their intentions, eventually Ismark does kind of show him his own like little signet ring that has as his family crest, and they eventually open the gates. And as you see that the gates are kind of held shut with heavy iron chains with iron padlocks. But they open the gates and let you in. And as you enter, you see that this town, it's not quite bustling, but there are considerably more people in this town than there was in the village of Barovia. Though everyone seems to have a similar kind of dour attitude. Everyone's kind of going about their business, but no one is happy here. And you do notice that as you enter, to the side of the road, just in front of the gates, on each side, are a bunch of what looks to be wolf's heads mounted on pikes.
Are they large wolf heads?
They are larger than normal.
I was
Tired.
There's about like 3 of them on each side.
Sounds like werewolves to me.
Nice.
I want to ask the guards, like, who did that?
The guards say the wolves hunters did it. We have as you're probably aware from traveling, there is a wolf problem. Hello. There is a wolf problem in the woods, so we do have people who hunt them.
Like big wolves, or like, which I mean by big wolves, I mean like werewolves, or like just like regular.
Are we talking about wolves?
Wolves, wink. He
Whoa.
says, well, there are wolves, and there are regular wolves. There are dire wolves, which are much bigger. There are, there are rumors of werewolves, but we do not know for certain, though the devil Strahd has many creatures in his arsenal.
Is there a coin to be made from hunting these wolves?
And he says, well, the furs do sell pretty well. We always need furs because it is fairly cold. And you do notice that it is a little bit colder where you are now than where it was before. And he does, they do mention that these particular wolves' head are here from our last celebration.
What celebration was that?
The Wolf's Head Jamboree.
Mm.
Yes,
Sounds,
we.
gory.
That's what it's about.
What did you say, Adriana?
I can guess what it's about.
Yeah, and they both kind of glance at each other, and they're just like kind of nod in just a really kind of weary way, and they're just like, yeah, we pretty much have a festival every week. Our burgomaster, he is kind of obsessed with the idea of cheering everyone up by coming up with these random festivals. We're all pretty much tired of them, but he believes that if we raise the people's spirits, maybe Strahd will stay away.
Every week you have a festival?
Every week, yes.
That sounds exhausting.
That sounds sickening.
Does anybody talk to him?
nobody talked to about the festivals, and he says no. Anyone who speaks ill of the festivals are declared by the burgomaster to be in league with Strahd, and they are arrested.
He seems more like a dictator.
They just kind of shrug and just like, well, that's just life here. Just we go about it and we put on a brave face, but do not speak ill of the festivals while you're here
Y'all are
in Bro.
way too complacent with this dickhead.
Can I meet him? Yeah, I want to meet him.
Just kill him.
Who
At
would
this, they
replace
just
him?
kind of pale and just kind of hush you, just like, don't, you will be arrested if you say that. And one of them just kind of like stamps their pike, but you can tell that they're not really happy about their jobs at all. But if they have to, they'll do them. But as far as meeting them, they just kind of point to just like, well, there's the burgomaster's mansion is that way. They just kind of point into town. You
We
can
should
take it.
get him where he lives over there.
He lives over there. Do what you want. Just don't speak ill of the festivals.
Do we really want to stir shit up in this random town?
Ismark and Irina are just kind of looking at you guys and giving you kind of a pointed look, like, please don't. We just moved here.
Like we just moved here, guys.
We
Be cool.
just moved here.
Y'all haven't
I
even
found the
moved here.
place, You're still already like,
And Ismark says, well, it is getting too later in the evening. We should find a place to stay. I do know of an inn down this way. And he kind of points down the road to where the inn would be. Do you guys follow him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like trail a little behind and keep an eye on things and make sure I'm not being followed or anything.
Okay. And no, everybody in the town.
talked about killing the mayor. Why would we be followed after that?
They actually didn't hear you say that. So they're just kind of like, whatever. These people are, despite the celebrations, these people are kind of really out of it.
I want to do like a perception check to see if like everyone is like I know they're out of it, but like are people hungry? Like it seems like festivals require food.
People are sick
You
of festivals.
yes, they are. They don't seem like they're hungry. None of them are. They don't look malnourished. They just look like they're depressed.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they're just all just kind of dour and just kind of going about their daily business on just kind of autopilot, not really paying attention to what's going on.
I can't believe this is season 1 of Once Upon a Time.
Oh my god! Oh, I haven't watched that show in such a long time. But as you continue down the road, the road cuts all the way through, straight through the middle of this town, and towards the center, where you have like two other roads that kind of split off of it. You do see an inn that has a sign that looks to be. Where is my inn? There it is. It looks to be painted with a blue waterfall. And it's a 2-story building with a stone foundation and kind of an old sagging roof. But you do notice there are a lot of ravens on top of this roof. There's probably about 7 or 8.
I'm waving at them like, oh.
Looks safe to me.
I think we should go inside.
Yeah.
Okay. You head inside this tavern or this inn, and it's called. The sign says the Blue Water Inn, which is appropriate because it's got the blue waterfall.
It's nice and quaint.
Yes. And as you enter the tavern, and compared to the tavern or the inn, well, actually it was a tavern in Barovia, this tavern or inn is a lot more bustling. There are, at this time in the late afternoon, there is actually a considerable amount of people here. There's probably at least a dozen patrons. You see when you enter, there's damp cloaks hanging on the pegs near the entrance. There's a bar stretching across one wall under a balcony, and as you enter, you do see like there's a balcony towards the far side, and there's a balcony on this side. And all the windows have like thick shutters and crossbars that can be put on them to kind of keep them closed from the inside. And lanterns hang above the bar and bathe the room in a dull orange light that casts shadows upon the walls, and you do see that there's wolves' heads mounted on wooden plaques all around the walls.
That's a
Hmm.
theme.
What did you say?
Can I go out onto a balcony?
I sense a theme.
You would have to, yeah, if you go upstairs, you can get up to, let's see. Let me double check, actually. Can you get up to a balcony on here?
Parkour.
Parkour.
You know,
Let's see. Oh, you know what? I didn't have it here. Let me write it down here real quick. This is a
guys, I
pretty
could
big
go sit
place,
with
so
the
it actually
ravens.
has a lot of stuff. What'd you say?
I could go sit with the ravens.
Sit with the ravens.
I'm edgy enough.
You cannot get to the balconies yet. Actually, there's a stairway that goes up, and as you start to head towards the stairway, you are intercepted by a woman. She has what would be jet black hair, except it's strung through with white. And she has a warm smile on her face, but she kind of steps in front of you and she says, "Welcome to the Blue Water Inn. How can I help you?"
Are we staying here for the night?
What did you
Yeah.
say?
3
Are we
rooms,
staying here
please.
for the night?
She hears you say that and she says, "You would like to purchase a couple rooms?" And she looks at you and you've got a few people and she says, "We have 2 rooms available right now with 2 beds."
That'll do.
Ismark and Irina, though, are just there, so you have 6 people.
That'll do.
Ismark, did you have any plans of where you guys were going to stay, or did you just plan to stay at the hotel? Or not hotel, tavern?
The inn. Well, Ismark and Irina are just like, well, we prefer to stay at the inn. And the woman who greeted you says, "Well, we only have 4 beds available right now, but you can stay in the loft in the stables, a couple of you, if you have no aversion to sleeping in
I'd
the."
rather stay in the. How much? I'm just gonna be like, how much is it for the room?
How much is it for the rooms? Room is 1 electrum a night.
One what?
What?
Electrum, which are
I think
I
5
wanna
silver.
s-
Silver.
yeah, 5 silver. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at Ismark pointedly.
Ismark, and he kind of gets the point, and he's like, okay, fair enough. And he kind of reaches into his pocket and
Wait,
he's
no,
like,
no, 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 I got it.
I'm gonna
I
stop
got it.
Mira. I'm gonna stop
No.
Mira.
But,
and he says, well, it's at least I can offer to pay for a couple nights for all of you as thanks for helping us here. So he will cover
money for home.
2 nights for all of you, as well as the rest for him and Arena until they figure out where they're going to go from here. But you guys will have 2 nights to stay there.
I'll take the loft.
You'll take the
You
what?
just stay in
The loft.
room. You
The loft?
meditate, right?
Okay. Does anyone else want to stay in the loft? Or 3 of you going to try and squeeze?
I'll stay in the loft.
You stay in the loft? Okay, so 2 of you stay in the
The
loft.
Dexters are in the loft.
Yay.
Wait, where's the loft?
It is in the stables.
So the squishy people are gonna leave the inn.
No, they.
See, the nice thing is we actually have AC, so
I believe the stable is attached to the actual inn. Let me just double check the map here. Come here. Where is the stables? Yeah, the stables. They have a door on the outside, but it's still attached to the building itself. So you're not going far. You're just going around the corner, basically.
yeah. So we good. We good.
I'll stay,
Cruz just needs a bed because he's
Okay.
old.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll stay in the room with the cruise.
Okay. And the woman says, okay. And she, let me go grab your keys for those of you who have rooms. And so she heads back over behind the bar into another room. And she comes back a few moments later with 2 keys. Hands one to Arina and one to Lena. And she says, the rooms are up the stairs, and then the stable, you'll have to go out and around the corner, but you can get into the stables that way.
Sounds good.
Okay. And are you guys going to bed now? Or are you going to hang out? Oh, she does mention that the rooms do come with hot beet soup and fresh bread.
Delicious.
What time is it now?
Right now, it's probably around almost 6, so the sun is starting to go down.
Okay.
But you do notice that more as the sun gets, as it gets later, more and more people start coming into the tavern or into the inn.
I'm gonna ask around about a man with a monkey.
A man with a monkey. So how are you asking? Are you just going table from table to table, or are you just kind of calling it out?
Man with a monkey.
I'm just like joining conversations like, so have you seen any man with any monkeys? You know, I'm like a monkey tattoo, maybe a physical monkey.
You kind of go table to table, and you notice that there's a few smaller tables with a few people around them, and then you see there's another table. It's the same size, but it has more people kind of crowded around it, and you see a really animated man who is wearing like this incredibly gaudy cloak that has all of these like stars and moons and stuff all over them, and he's got pointed ears. And he's just loudly just kind of telling these people a story about a distant land, and they're just kind of laughing. They're just like, "What are you talking about? This is crazy." But as you kind of come up and join the conversation, and you just kind of in between one of the pauses, you do mention something about a monkey. He looks to you, and he's just like, "What monkey? I used to have a monkey. I gave it over to the toy maker because they wouldn't let me bring it into the inn. Why are you looking for a man with a monkey?" And everybody else is just kind of like chatting at this point and just having their own conversations kind of around you.
Because an old lady told me to. Where are you from, sir?
He laughs, but you notice that his eyes are kind of sharp on you, and he's just like, "What kind of old lady?" And he says, "Well, I'm from many lands." And he kind of looks you up and down, and he's just like, "Yeah, you aren't from here, are you?"
No, I am not. What gave me away?
Oh, the fact that you are a head and a half taller than everybody else, for one. At this point, he kind of glances around at the table, and everybody's just kind of chatting, and he just looks at you, and he kind of goes like this and gestures over to kind of an empty table off to the side and heads over there.
Yeah, I follow him.
Okay, what are the rest of you guys doing?
I'm actually gonna try and go to the woman we spoke with for the rooms.
Okay.
I actually want to pay and like tell her like
They already paid, Mayra.
I paid more.
She kind of looks at you and she smiles and she says, "Well, they paid for 2 days. Are you planning on staying longer?"
I didn't think this through.
And then she just kind of, she just kind of pats you on the cheek very affectionately, and she's like, "Don't worry about it. Pay as you need." And then she goes back behind the bar.
I'd like to approach her as well.
Approach her, okay?
And
Yeah, she's just standing right behind the bar now.
So, is there any center of trade in this town?
Center of trade. That's a good question. Is there a center of trade?
Market.
She says there's not much trade that happens.
Trench coat.
Man with a trench coat. Oh, and she's just like, yeah, there's people that come and go. Most of the trade that happens in these lands don't stay in a central place. It's mostly the Vistani who come traveling through, but every so often you might find something. Is there something you're looking for?
Not in particular. Is there a Vistani camp nearby?
She says there is one further south of here.
About the one we just left.
Let me just.
Sounds like it.
No, it's actually a different one because those people packed up camp and left, and you guys are actually further west, further west from that. Where on my map is that camp? Vallaki.
I think I see it.
Okay, yeah, I think it's further south.
By the Luna River?
Yeah, is that it?
I think so. Let me double check my notes here. Soon. Woods to southwest of town. I don't think it shows it on the actual map itself.
Okay.
But there, yeah, just right outside of town to the southwest is a Vistani camp.
Good to know. Thank you.
And she says, "Be warned, these Vistani are not very kind, and the burgomaster does not allow Vistani in this village."
What a surprise.
Do you know anything about the burgomaster? Burgo.
She says, "Well, my family has owned this inn for quite some time, so yes, we know a bit. What are you looking for?"
Oh well, I mean, I'm curious about. Has he always been in charge? These festivals sound new. Am I wrong? Am I right? Am I wrong?
She says, he has not always been in charge, but he's been in charge for a while. Um, we have had these festivals for the past several years. He believes that they keep the people's spirits up, and it keeps the devil Strahd at bay.
I mean, it might do one of those things.
Well, to be fair, we have not had any attacks on the town for quite some time.
Like I said.
What about crows? What do you know about ravens?
Ravens?
Yeah, ravens.
You say crow, and she just kind of glares at you for just a brief moment, just really like a crack in her exterior, and then you correct to ravens, and she's just like, and she smiles, and she says, "What do you want to know?
Can't
We
believe
have
you
many
offended
of
a
them."
Raven.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
Oh, you offended a region. Yes. What would you like to know?
There's a lot of them here. Is that I see like there's a wolf's a theme, but based off your expression, ravens seem pretty important. What's up with that? Tell me more. Tell me more.
And she just says, "Well, ravens are thought to be protectors from evil. They're good luck, and so we like to keep them around."
Do you feed them, or do they just like you?
She says, "We feed them, and they like us."
Good combo.
hmm And you see that as you ask her that, she kind of has a little twinkle in her eye. And she does actually have two raven feathers kind of in her hair, just as a little thingies.
Insight check, and I'm like, what?
What are you? She has feathers in her hair.
Okay. Do an insight check. What are you trying to find out?
kill
I'm
ravens?
trying to find out if because it was weird that she was like protecting the top. Okay, actually, I want to ask her like, can I go to the balcony where the ravens are? I'd like to talk to them. Is that possible?
She says, well, there are some ravens in the stables actually, where a couple of you are going to be sleeping.
Wow. We can go hang out with them.
They're so cool. Okay.
If you
But
don't, I hope you don't mind sleeping near birds, but that's all we have left.
I kind of recently found out I have an affinity for birds in some way, and I just look out. It's like, wow, yeah, birds. Cool.
Birds are cool.
A friend of mine really likes birds, but like it's almost as if she's in a different universe. I feel like she's like controlling me.
She just kind of laughs a little bit, and she's just like, "You're very cute." Okay. So Cruz, you go over to. Is anyone else with you, or is just Cruz are you by yourself with Victoria or with the? Okay, so the two of you go over to this to a side table with this gentleman.
Oh, if that's okay for you.
What?
If that's okay with Ashley, I'll be with you.
Oh yeah, she's cool.
And you sit down, and he kind of glances around, and he keeps a smile on his face. He has you notice that he has pointed ears. He looks to be possibly a half elf, and looks almost like a like carnival or carny. Like the way he's dressed, it's all just kind of really mismatched and very garish looking. But he asks for you, and he says he asks you, okay, tell me more about this old lady who asked for a man with a monkey head.
She was a Vistani lady. Am I saying that right?
Vistani, yes. Vistani.
Yeah, she
An
was a
old woman.
Vistani lady, a fortune teller of some sort.
And at this, he just kind of he gets kind of somber for a second, and he glances about a little bit, and he says, "What did she tell you?"
She told me that she told me to find a man with a monkey and that he would be more than he seemed.
At this, you see him kind of get a little pale for a second, and he says, "Well, okay. And what is the purpose of finding this person? Why is this important?"
We think that you can help us, and we can possibly help you in return.
Help me with what?
I don't know, man. I don't know your business. You got to tell me first.
And he just kind of laughs, and he's just like, "Well, I'm a ringmaster of a carnival, but unfortunately, I got stuck in this dreary place. But I'm just making the most of it.
How did you get stuck here?
Oh, I traveled around, going to different towns and performing with my animals. I had a monkey, but I gave him away. I have uh, I have a carnival wagon that has many interesting things. But one day I was traveling and I ended up here. As
Sounds like
many
a
do.
familiar story.
Yes, it happens. But he says, I don't know what I can help you with, but well,
What interesting things do you have?
and he says, well, do you want to go see my wagon?
I would love to see your wagon.
So he kind of leads you outside and around the corner, and you do see there's a really colorful looking wagon right outside that he stops off at the kitchen on the way there, and he picks up what looks to be just like a steak and an apple. And from the kitchen, and you do see that in the kitchen there is a kind of a burly looking dude with dark hair that is also graying, and he's clearly the cook. He's rushing around, and he kind of nods to this man, and knowingly, as if like he's quite used to this man doing this. So he gets a raw steak and an apple, and you go around the corner, and he stops off at the stable and gives the apple to the only horse that's in there. And he introduces, this is Drusilla. This is my draft horse, and kind of pats her. She's a gray mare. She happily eats the apple. And then he heads over to his colorful carnival wagon. And as he gets close to the wagon, you do hear what sounds like some sort of growling coming from inside. And he kind of smiles at you, and he says, "You might want to stand back."
Oh,
And he goes back to the back of the wagon, and like you see that the door is kind of designed to like has like a top and a bottom, and so he just kind of lifts up the top and tosses the raw steak in there, and you see the wagon just kind of like shift as this whatever's in there starts eating the steak.
What is that?
He
yeah.
says that is my saber-toothed tiger that I captured from another land. I was going to show him off, but well, I got stuck here, and well, I feel like these people already have enough terror and excitement in their lives, so there hasn't been much interest in seeing my tiger.
Yeah, I bet. I don't even know what to say to that.
And he laughs, and he says, and he goes inside, and he says, well, let me know what I can do to help you with whatever you want, but yeah, I don't really know why you're here. You haven't really given me any information.
Well, we're going to fight Strahd. We're going to get out of here.
As soon as you say that, he just goes completely somber and looks around, and he says, do not say that out here. And you see that his accent changes when he says that. And he's just like,
There it is.
he kind of takes a moment and thinks, and he's just like, so Madam Ava sent you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he kind of he takes a moment to kind of collect himself, and he puts a smile back on his face, and he says, come inside. And he leads you back inside the inn, and he starts to go up the stairs.
Follow him.
Okay.
I see our friends going upstairs, and I'm like, man, yeah, let's go.
What? Okay.
Okay. You guys kind of join them, and when you go up the stairs, you see that there's it leads to a couple guest rooms. The room Ismark and Irina are already in one room and just kind of taking a break from their long travels. The one of the other rooms is Cruz and Alina's, and he leads you down to the end where he stays. And he's got his room is a little bit bigger, but he unlocks the door to this room, and you see that he's got a guest room that has a bed heaped with wolf furs. And he's got like a footlocker, a wardrobe, a writing desk, and an oil lamp just kind of near, sitting on top of a desk near what looks to be a journal, and a journal in a red leather jacket. Um, as soon as you enter, do you enter the room with him?
Yeah.
Okay, you enter the room with him, and he locks the door behind you. And he tosses the key down onto onto his bed, and you can see he's wearing kind of a weird sort of kind of a jaunty hat that has like a feather in it. And then he turns around to all of you and he says, takes off the hat, and immediately his appearance completely changes.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Guys, I can't believe it's Aragorn.
Oh God! And he just looks at you like, who the hell is Aragorn? His appearance completely changes. What was an adult, like half elf, kind of handsome looking, you see what looks to be a grizzled older man. Fairly, from what you can tell, he is dressed in. He's still in the same clothes, but you do notice that his body seems fairly well built. He's an older man, but he looks like a man who can definitely take care of himself. You do see a couple scars going across his face. He has white hair, short cropped white hair that kind of sticks out a little bit, and he's wearing a pair of spectacles. And he looks at you, and he sits down on the edge of the bed, and he says, "So you want to kill Strahd?"
Yes, I do.
All right.
Hold up.
We
No,
don't
it
want
makes-
to, but apparently that's what we're here to do.
And he says, she said, "You don't want to." And he says, "What makes you think that you can do this?"
We're mad.
We got to.
Definitely
Hey.
gotta go home.
Out of here, we have to fight him. And kill him.
Yeah. And he looks at you and he says, "Yes, well, anyone would be mad to go up against Strahd, but admittedly, that's what brings me here too." And he kind of holds out his hand and he says, "I am Rictavio, but that is my alias. My real name is Rudolph van Richten. I'm a vampire hunter."
Ah!
I'm really happy you didn't stop at just vampire, because like that would have been very alarming.
I'm a vampire. No, I'm a vampire
Shake his
hunter.
hand.
You shake his hand, and he has a very firm grip.
So do
His
I.
hands are, yeah, and you notice his hands are all heavily scarred. Like he's been through some shit.
Oh, we stand.
He shakes your hands, and he said, "How long have you been in Barovia?"
Not long, like what, 2
Okay.
days?
We do not like this place, and we want out.
Okay.
I don't like this place. This place doesn't like us.
Yes, and he says, "Well, defeating Strahd is no easy task. I have been searching for ways. There are stories of the wizard who attempted to defeat him, but he failed. However, there is a rumor of this wizard kind of randomly showing up. We do not know if it's the same one, though I suspect it may be. They call him the Mad Mage of Mount Baratok.
Does he just kind of show up whenever he wants?
Pretty much, and he is completely crazy from what I hear, though I have never met him personally."
Sounds
That
inconvenient.
does not sound useful.
Yes. Other than that, no doubt you have had contact with the wolves. You know of werewolves, probably.
Just a little bit.
Have you fought any of them?
Nope.
Not yet. Give us some time, though.
Do you have silver weapons?
I just
I have
spoons.
silver weapon.
No.
I have spoons, and we want to definitely melt these down to make silver weapons.
Yeah, we have a lot of. We have silver utensils,
Yes.
like forks and shit.
Okay. And he looks at you and is like, "Okay, well, that is something. I suppose you could cut him with a knife and stick a spoon in him, and that might do something."
his eyes.
Oh, yes.
And he says, "I have been in this town." Where's my thingy? Let me double check my my
Got bitten
notes
by a
here.
vampire.
You got bitten by a vampire? What?
It got bitten by a vampire. Your thingy.
Oh, my thingy. Yes.
It's a vampire thingy.
Yeah. He says that I've been looking for allies in this town. I've noticed that since being here, I'm quite familiar with Vistani, and not all Vistani are trustworthy. There are some who serve Strahd, so you must be careful who you trust. The ones south of this village in particular.
That explains a lot.
Glad
So
you told
listener
us.
just mentioned out in the open that we're here to kill Strahd. Does not mention Strahd at all.
Let's maybe not mention that we're here to kill Strahd. Let's not open with that. You're right.
Yes. So Strahd has a hold over this land, and you never know who you can trust. However, I have been in this town collecting information about the... What are they called? Where is it? The Keepers of the Feather, who may be allies.
What is the
Does
feather?
that have to do with the ravens?
And he points at you and he says, "Smart girl. Yes, there are were-ravens that exist in Barovia. It is my belief that this
Ravens?
were-ravens. Yes. No doubt you noticed that there are a lot of ravens here. It is my belief that some of them may be part of this organization known as the Keepers of the Feather, and I believe them to be."
I'm gonna look at him and be
That's
like,
I'm like hitting Baron like
I'm gonna look at him and be like,
I'm like,
have you talked to the, I guess, barkeep?
And he says, "I have been quietly trying to gain information. If they are associated with these, they are very reluctant to let their secret out. I have managed to gain enough to sense that it is a possibility that they are, and considering the number of ravens that exist here. However, obviously they would, if their secret got out, Strahd would come down upon them. So I do not blame them for wanting to keep their secret. For the time being, this town is protected from Strahd's undoing. However, that protection may not last forever. Strahd is getting stronger, as it is my belief."
Strahd can get fucked.
We need to really go with these.
He laughs at this and he says, "So, Madame Ava told you to find me. Did she tell you anything else?
She
What-
told, she told
what
us
is your
to
next
find
business?
some shit.
She's very vague with her
she
words.
said you could be our guide.
A guide to what? What did she tell you to find?"
Quick question.
Mhm.
Can I insight him?
Yes, you can.
Because this is very convenient and very helpful. I just want to make sure that we're not fucking up. That's a 17.
At 17, you do see that he seems trustworthy. He seems like he's being honest with you, and he almost seems like he's kind of glad to meet someone else he can be honest with.
Okay.
Yeah, when you mentioned Madame Ava and mentioned the defeating Strahd, and the fact that you were so open about it is just kind of like alarming, because no one in their right mind would say those things unless they actually were being trustworthy about it. Yeah, like if anyone who was serving Strahd probably wouldn't be so open about that.
Yeah.
So he seems like he's being honest.
Okay. Okay.
And he says, "She told you to find what things?"
White tower in the mountains.
White tower.
A weapon of vengeance, a sword made of sunlight, the room without of a guild member with bottle rooftop.
Weapon of vengeance. Did she say what this weapon can do? A weapon of sunlight?
Sword of sunlight.
Sunlight. And he's like, "Well, that would be definitely helpful against a vampire such as Strahd."
Right?
I pull out my card and I'm like,
So she was very.
You don't have the card. She took the cards back. You don't get to steal her card. But you get to.
I try the card.
Okay.
Like all she told me was it was a dark room filled with bottles, and that it was a room of a guild member.
A guild member. What kind of guild?
Exactly.
We think it's the wine guys. The
Yeah,
wizards
the
of
wine. The winery guild.
The winery.
She said there was a dark room filled with bottles.
He says, "Okay, winery. Well, there is the Wizards of the Wine's winery. That is not far from here. And conveniently enough, Erdwin he gestures kind of downstairs. Erwin, who the cook, who's also one of the other owners of the tavern, and he is the husband of the woman you guys talked to, who is Donovan. Let me just double check her name.
Yeah.
But he says the Mardukov family, who own this place, they also own the winery that is near Kresk.
Hmm.
They might have more information about it. And this guild member, if it is a wine guild.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and he said, is there anything else you have? What did you need from this guild member or from this place?
Good
The
question.
sword.
That's where the sword is.
Yes. The weapon of vengeance is a sword of sunlight, and it's in a dark room filled with bottles. And the room was that of a guild member.
He kind of shakes his head and he's just like, ugh, fortune tellers, always.
Well,
All right. Well,
I'm looking for a white tower in the mountains.
White Tower in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit less make.
He says, what, anything else? I mean, there's
Golden Knights?
Guarded by golden knights.
Golden Knights.
Tome
Any-
of Strahd, I think.
The Tome of Strahd.
Yeah.
He thinks for a moment and he's just like, well, Golden Knights, Golden Knights. If it's in the mountain, it's probably somewhere around Sayre Fall, or not Sayre Falls. Where is it? It is probably
That one place.
that one place that has the stuff near. It's probably somewhere along Solenka Pass. The only tower I can think of there are the guard towers that cross the bridge.
Are any of them white?
Well, yes, everything's white there. It's a fairly snowy place.
Sounds like the U.S. Okay, interesting.
And you said the what is there?
The Tome of Strahd?
The Tome of Strahd.
Question mark?
What did she say about this tome? What is in it?
Secrets.
Secrets that could help us defeat Strahd, probably.
Secrets that will help better understand our enemy and to strategize against him.
And he says that would be useful. Okay.
Yeah, it would be.
All right. Anything else?
Oh,
Trust the Ravens.
Trust the
Trust the
Ravens.
Ravens, yep.
And a tower on a lake. Wizard from the Wizard. Yes.
Well, here's our lake, but
What did he said? What did he say? A tower on a lake,
Tower. Mm-hmm.
a wizard tower,
Yes.
and he kind of pauses for a second when you say wizard's tower, and he says, "What is in this wizard's tower?"
Holy weapon. Holy. Yes.
What
Yeah.
kind of holy weapon?
I don't know.
A
That's
holy
sad.
weapon, trust us.
What'd you say?
A holy weapon, trust us.
A holy weapon.
Yeah,
And he
just
says,
trust us.
"Do you tell him what the actual item is?"
I don't think she knows. That the
Okay.
actual item-
Well, I mean, like, even if you don't remember, it's the holy symbol of Ravenkind.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, we should show that to
That
the
aligns
Ravens.
with what he's trying to.
Yeah. So you tell him
Yeah, but-
what the actual.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell him actually, cause
You're not going to tell him.
no, I'm just gonna like feign like I don't remember.
And he's just like, okay, well, I am aware of a wizard's tower. I had a base of operations there for a while. I could lead you there.
what happened to your base of operations?
I had to move it. I needed to get closer to the ravens, so I came here.
Interesting. Okay.
All right.
I'll take it.
Well, it'd be very cool if you took us there.
And he says, yes, I could lead you to it. Is there anything that you need? We could leave in the morning if you wish. Is there any other business you have?
Didn't we want to check out that windmill?
Yeah.
You did,
But
yeah.
that's
And
how
what's up
far
with
away is
the
that from
boat?
the? How
Oh,
far
I'm
away?
the boat guy.
Boat guy.
He says, what boat guy?
There was a guy on a boat. Don't worry about it, hon.
How far away was the?
You call him hun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And he's just like, okay.
Yeah.
How far away is the windmill from the town?
It is. It's about another half day. It was like halfway to where you were, so you have to travel back quite a ways.
Sounds like that's a tomorrow thing.
Yeah, that's like a tomorrow thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to take care of in this town? I know Ashley's got to go soon, so we may have to call this a short session. Anything you want to take care of before within the town? I mean, it's probably about 7:00 right now, so you can either go to bed or you can do whatever.
I'm
Well,
good to go to bed
Yeah, let's just go to bed and
and get an early start.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get an early, like wake
I'm
up
gonna-
early in the morning.
I'm gonna ask him how he got here, because if he's a vampire,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, I got here with the aid of Vistani.
Hmm.
I had a protege who was a Vistani named Esmeralda. Who I was. Well, she is off on her own. She's not in Barovia. She is doing her own thing in other worlds. But I trained her, and with the aid of her and people, good Vistani like her, they were able to lead me to Barovia.
Nice.
cool. So, you wouldn't happen to know how we could acquire any silvered weapons or anything like that? You wouldn't know, like a blacksmith or anything?
He says acquiring silver weapons is going to be hard. He pulls out what looks to be a cane, and he kind of twists it and pulls it, and he says, I have my own silver sword. There's no one here that sells anything other than unless you find a Vistani that happens to have one on them. It's going to be hard to find one.
You
And
have a
there's no
friend
one
at a
who wants to-
Vistani camp?
What'd you say?
Do you have? Oh, sorry. Do you have a friend at a Vistani camp, and you have like a scythe? Is that you? Are you?
Friends? Well, I'm not really friends with many Vistani. But there's the camps south of town. They have stuff. They are not trustworthy, but that does not mean that you cannot necessarily do business with them.
But do you have a friend that is loaning you a scythe? There we go.
Yeah, do you know anything about the black slide? The black slide.
Like he shakes his head. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. No, what scythe?
Insight check.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I have to go.
21. Okay.
Okay. 21. He does not know what you're talking about.
Cool.
Okay, we gotta call it a night because you gotta run. So we will see you guys next week.
Love you guys.
Yay! Let me go ahead and start that.